If the first Extraction film was about a man seeking a glorious death in the muddy waters of Dhaka, Extraction 2 is about the brutal, agonizing inconvenience of survival. Directed by Sam Hargrave and powered by the frantic, kinetic energy of the Russo brothers' production machine, this 2023 sequel does not merely continue the story of Tyler Rake, it drags him out of the grave, dusts off the frost, and throws him into a meat grinder that is somehow even louder, colder, and more vicious than before. This is not a film that asks for your patience. It demands your adrenaline. It is a symphony of shattered glass, twisting metal, and the visceral sound of Chris Hemsworth breathing through a punctured lung. To understand this movie, one must look past the surface-level explosions and see it for what it truly is. A modern myth about a warrior who cannot die because he has not yet suffered enough to earn his peace. The story begins where all tragedies end, in the silence following the violence. We find Tyler Rake not as the unstoppable force of nature we remember, but as a broken husk, physically shattered and comatose. The opening sequence is a medical procedural of pain, detailing the reconstruction of a man who was treated less like a human being and more like a decommissioned tank. He is retired to a cabin in Austria, a snowy purgatory where he is expected to live out his days feeding chickens and watching television. But the script, written by Joe Russo, understands a fundamental truth about characters like Rake: peace is a poison to them. The quiet of the Austrian woods is not a sanctuary, it is a waiting room. The call to adventure arrives not with a bang, but with a stranger in a suit, a man named Alcott, played with smug charm by Idris Elba. The mission is no longer purely mercenary. It is personal. The target is Tinatin, the sister of Rake's ex-wife, Nia. She is trapped in a Georgian prison, held there by her husband, David Radiani, a warlord who rules the prison as his own personal fiefdom. Rake accepts, not for the money, but because the mission offers him a bridge back to the life he lost, the son he couldn't save, and the wife he left behind. What follows is the film's centerpiece, a sequence that has already cemented itself in the Hall of Fame of action cinema. It is a 21-minute oneer, a simulated single continuous take that stretches the boundaries of logistics and human endurance. The camera does not cut, it floats, runs, drives, and bleeds alongside the characters. Rake infiltrates the Kachiri prison to extract Tinatin and her two children, Sandro and Nina. The prison is a brutalist nightmare of concrete and malice. When the extraction goes wrong, as it must, the screen erupts into a chaotic ballet of riot shields, Molotov cocktails, and shovel-wielding inmates. Hargrave's direction here is claustrophobic. You feel the crush of bodies in the prison yard. You smell the smoke. Rake guides the family through a labyrinth of violence, shielding them with his own body, his movements precise and lethal despite his recovering injuries. The camera transitions seamlessly from intimate hand-to-hand combat to a high-speed car chase, and finally, to a train heist that defies all laws of physics and safety. The train sequence is where the film elevates itself from a gritty thriller to an operatic spectacle. Pursued by helicopters and armored vehicles, Rake fights David Radiani atop the moving locomotive. The wind whips, the metal groans, and the choreography is relentless. It is here that Rake kills David, an act of necessity that ignites a blood feud with David's brother, Zurab. Zurab, played with terrifying intensity by Tornike Gogrichiani, is not a typical villain. He is a man driven by a twisted code of honor and religious fervor, the leader of the Nagazi, a paramilitary crime syndicate that values loyalty above life itself. To Zurab, Rake is not just an enemy. He is the murderer of his blood, and therefore, God demands retribution. This elevates the conflict from a tactical extraction to a holy war. The train crash that caps off the extraction is a crescendo of noise and destruction, leaving the audience breathless, wondering how cinema can push the envelope any further. Yet, the film pauses. It breathes. Following the extraction, the group retreats to Vienna, to a high-rise hotel that serves as a momentary fortress. This downtime is crucial. It allows the film to explore the emotional wounds that run deeper than Rake's physical scars. We see the friction between Rake and Sandro, the teenage son of the warlord. Sandro is a tragic figure, a boy brainwashed by his father's toxic masculinity and the Nagazi code. He views Rake not as a savior, but as the man who killed his father. This internal conflict within the rescued family adds a layer of Shakespearean tragedy to the narrative. Sandro betrays their location to his uncle Zurab, proving that the most dangerous weapon is often the one you are trying to protect. The betrayal transforms the gleaming glass tower of the hotel into a vertical battlefield. The siege of the hotel is a distinct contrast to the grimy, horizontal chaos of the prison. Here, the action is vertical, sleek, and terrified. Zarab and his Nagazi soldiers descend upon the building with heavy weaponry. The action choreography shifts again, utilizing the environment of a luxury hotel, gym equipment, glass elevators, and rooftop terraces as tools of war. Rake is forced to fight not just for survival, but for the soul of the boy who hates him. The partnership between Rake and Nick Khan, his handler and closest ally played by Golshifteh Farahani, is given the spotlight it deserves. Nick is not a damsel, she is a warrior of equal standing. Her loyalty to Rake is the emotional anchor of the franchise. She fights with a ferocity that matches his, and their unspoken bond suggests a love that transcends romance, a bond forged in blood and gunpowder. The climax of the film strips away the technology, the helicopters, and the armies, boiling the conflict down to its essence: two men in a church. Zarab has taken Sandro hostage, luring Rake into a final confrontation at a nearby airfield church. It is a fitting setting for a villain who believes his vengeance is ordained by God. Rake arrives, battered, bleeding, and armed with nothing but his fists and his will. The fight is ugly. It is not the polished martial arts of a superhero movie. It is a desperate scramble for survival. Punches land with sickening thuds, improvised weapons are used, and exhaustion is palpable on both men's faces. Rake offers his own life in exchange for Sandro's, a moment of true redemption. He is finally ready to die, not seeking escape, but seeking to save the boy who represents the son he couldn't save years ago. But Nick intervenes, and together they end Zarab's reign of terror. The death of the villain is not triumphant, it is simply the end of a long, dark night. The visual language of Extraction 2 is steep in cold blues, grays, and the stark white of snow, contrasting sharply with the yellow, humid filter of the first film's Dhaka setting. This color palette reflects Rake's internal state: cold, numb, and hardened. However, as the film progresses and he reconnects with his humanity through the act of saving Ketevan and her children, the screen seems to warm, if only with the fire of explosions. The sound design deserves special mention. Every gunshot sounds distinct, every bone break is audible. It creates a sensory experience that is almost overwhelming, placing the viewer directly inside Rake's headspace. Ultimately, Extraction 2 is a masterclass in action storytelling. It understands that action without emotion is merely noise. By tying the physical stakes of the mission to Tyler Rake's psychological need for redemption, the film gives weight to every punch. Rake survives, of course. The final scenes show him in prison, approached once again by Alcott with a promise of freedom in exchange for work. The cycle continues. Rake is a weapon that cannot be shelved. But he is no longer the suicidal ghost of the first film. He has found a reason to live, a purpose in the chaos. He is a guardian of the lost, a monster who fights other monsters so that the innocent might sleep soundly. This sequel proves that while the body can be broken, the spirit of a true action hero is forged in the fire, indestructible and eternal.